Welcome, everyone, to This Week in Hospitality Digital Marketing. And no, I'm not starting the show alone today. This is show number 102. I have my esteemed co-hosts, Mr. Stuart Butler from Fuel Travel and Mr. Robert Cole from Rock Cheetah.
And I can say I am not steamed. It's baked because I'm in Dallas.
Baked?
It's very hot.
Really, no kidding. It is more than hot. Now, I do love the Gosset overlay that you have as a filter, Mr. Stewart. You have this kind of foggy hue to you, as if in a dreamlike state. Yeah, you get something.
I live in a dreamlike state.
Yeah, you get.
I see dead people.
Oh yeah, there we go. All hands. Yep.
Probably the video I was on my computer earlier. It was covering the camera.
You got some Bloody Mary on it, right?
Yeah, whatever it was.
Breakfast of champions.
That's right.
No, I just go
pizza and Bloody Marys. I think pizza is the perfect food for everything. There's not a single meal period that pizza doesn't fit, whether it be.
I agree.
Yeah,
I completely agree.
And it hits all the major food groups: happiness, happiness, and happiness.
And that applies to New York style, thin crust, or deep dish. It doesn't really matter.
It's true.
I'm not picky on my pizza. I will eat all of the above.
And at 2:00 in the morning, back in my youthful days, it was, man, you'd go anywhere for that stuff.
Oh yeah.
So I actually has a subtopic for today: the heat of the summer. Budget season's warming up. What do you need to plan for at 18? Which is kind of like a loose monicum to say we've been holding our breath waiting for the economy to either shift or do something, and it doesn't do anything. It's doing the same thing it's been doing since the start of the year. Although, Mr. Robert, you've given some interesting stats as to indicators and so forth. So I kind of threw some articles together that I thought kind of lent itself. And then, of course, with Mr. Edward St. Ange, I wanted to kind of throw at him that one little article about High-Tech's highest draw of attendees in its recorded history. And also, of course, I was just on the revenue management call for HSMAI, and they had the highest attendance of HSMAI's Rock Conference. So, so much for the consideration that Toronto was going to scare people away.
Well, you can tell any story you want with data, right? So, I think
that's true.
Registered people versus the different aspects. And we talked last week on the show, the foot traffic at High-Tech itself was way down. Yeah. Way down. But the other shows, they seem to do a lot better. So
yeah, I think it'd be very interesting to see the breakdown of numbers of exhibitors, numbers of registrants just for the exhibits, how many of those registrants were students, and how many were really doing the full 3-day for the education sessions and all that sort of stuff. I think that might tell a slightly different story, but hard to say.
We need to look at big data, not small data here. Saying that one number.
I think from a press release basis, you just go for the high. Now for Rock though, that was legitimately that was a big number. They had a lot of people there. So
yeah, and not to disclose some of their more secretive numbers, but it sounded like from both HFTP and from HSMAI that they had the mixes they were looking for. They had a high corporate level attendance at both shows, and they had not as much dramatic growth. I mean, again, not to be specific on numbers for them because that probably was more personal information for them, but they had still good growth even over their very large growth last year when they did it in New Orleans. So. Yeah, still more growth. But to your point, was it of the attendance? Did everybody show? I know that some of the considerations were that people couldn't attend all the events and so forth. So that might lend itself to a little bit what we talked about. There was just too much concurrently going on between both activities to make it work.
If they can move HSMAI back to the last day next time, it's a Thursday next time, I think that.
But they won't do that. But they won't do that because they do the Thursday is the chief revenue officer round table. So they get those guys. So that kind of kills the Thursday show, or at least for those guys. Wednesday is they're all at Rock, and so that really only gives you Tuesday, and a lot of people wind up flying in. Again, I don't know. I didn't go to the Monday evening, cocktail reception, but I don't know if that was well attended or.
You're such a social butterfly. I don't understand why you didn't do that. I mean, you love hobnobbing with the Goober Smoochers every chance you get. I understand.
He was at every other party, just not that first.
Not that first party.
I had a very nice dinner with a Wall Street equity analyst, and we talked about all the ins and outs of what the hell is going on.
Which, by the way, what is the hell is going? I mean, we're here rolling towards the end of July. We know historically, hospitality has a budget season, which baffles the mind for me that we actually have a season for this, because functionally budgeting should be very concise, very defined, and start and finishes, rather than this arduous process of August dusting off research, September negotiating values, and then June. October fighting for finalization.
It starts for the brands though in June, because
their fiscal is different. Yes, yep.
No, not even because of the fiscal. They have to figure out, here's what we're going to do plan wise, because this is what the fees are going to be, and the various whatever co-op promotions or regional things that all this stuff that's going to get crammed down to the hotel level has to all get worked out, and then they can start giving number and figure out what's going to fly because they don't want a bunch of blowback. So they figure that stuff out, and then the hotels can start getting into their.
Well, speaking of which, this is the first year of consideration that Starwood has to play nice with Marriott in the budget world. That they all have to figure out what they're going to do and compatibilities with each other too, which is going to be interesting.
Yeah,
you fly on that wall. Who gets the focus share, and is it designated by market or by brand? I mean,
there's a great Far Side cartoon that I have somewhere here, but it's when worlds collide, and it was a spaceship coming down with individuals who just had backsides. They had legs and backsides. That was their entire alien body form, and they had landed in a field of goats. So it was all going to be like, and I always use that as kind of the image for budget season. The goats and the asses come colliding. Yeah. So anyway.
Well, to that end, there was one I kind of throw into the pile of hodgepodge articles that came out this week.
There was one big
Marriott on their 2-day cancellation policy.
Yeah, that was certainly the thing that's causing a lot of discussion.
Yeah, because
do you feel like it makes a difference though? I mean, I think. Obviously it's a positive for the brand, but does the consumers? Does it really matter to consumers?
Well, I know it does me, because it means that I have to, because to kind of give insights on how I go over and book stuff. Actually, my wife does most of the booking. Is we'll pick a couple of locations and book to hold them.
But you're atypical, right? You're in the industry. Right. You understand how it works. You're an insider. I don't. We don't see in our clients a tremendous high percentage of cancellations in general. I wonder with the average consumer. I think business certainly it skews more where it could be an issue, but I don't think this is going to be even a thought 12 months from now. Like I don't think it matters in the grand scheme. Is it going to have a long-term impact? Wow. I just don't think it will.
Well, here's the thing, and there was an active discussion on the Focusrite analyst email chain. So people will post articles and things. And I mean, this one was probably the most commented and one that got the most back and forth in recent memory. It was interesting though. One of the guys in Germany was saying that over there, because again, Booking.com is so dominant, that they are seeing, let's just say, hang on. Okay, just came from a client with resorts and a low business share. So this is high leisure share, claiming OTA cancellations are between 30% and 50% depending on the season. So yes, Lauren is playing inside baseball type stuff, right? He knows how things work as I do. But that seems to be, I think, for these leisure destinations in Europe, because Booking.com is covering like 80% of their OTA volume. Yeah, people are just making reservations, waiting to see how things turn out, and then cancel. Now, again, that is
24 hours different,
Oh no, I know, and there was a lot of angst, and oh my God, I think there was some pushback in the corporate world But again, those rules are different, and something that actually I intended to send back to Focusrite, and then I didn't hit send. I was having some internet problems yesterday, so it didn't really go. So I'll share it with you instead. The big thing is, like, what's a room product? This is what people forget, and a lot of hotel groups, even they super simplify this, right? But you've got a room category, right, which is, you know, some sort of maybe a differentiated price based on a room type or feature, maybe not. Some of them are clustered, some of the types are clustered into categories, but you've got that. You've got a retail price that's paid by the consumer. Maybe for that you have a net rate, right? So you got the wholesale price paid by an intermediary if it's merchant model. You have commission policies. You may be paying different commissions based on that, depending on how you're distributing it. You've got a guarantee policy. Do you need a credit card number or not? Because again, way back in the day, there used to be hold till 6 reservations where you didn't have to give them a credit card. They just had a name, and you kind of held till 6, and you walked up and said, "Hi, I'm Stuart," and they gave you the, you know, you were okay. That, you know, those are kind of gone. Actually, then it wound up being, I think, a hold till 4. Then it wound up being, we need a credit card sort of thing. And then it was, oh, well, it's 24 hours from the check-in time. Then it wound up being, what was it, a day before, but it was midnight of the day before arrival. And so now to this 2 day, I haven't really figured out if this is 48 hours really, or if it's 2 days before. I think it's 48 hours. So it's actually not even that big a, yeah, it's probably like a 12 or 14 hour change. But anyway, you've got a guarantee policy. You've got a deposit policy if there's a prepayment required. You've got refundability, whether, you know, is any of this eligible for a refund? Cancellation policy, if you can just cancel. Resort fees may be added on, or whatever they want to call them, the hotel, you know, mandatory surcharge. You may have ancillary services included, you know, bundled offers. Oh, you get a meal, you get a golf package, you know, whatever that may be if it's a package rate. You then figure out who the merchant of record is. There may be, what's the occupancy tax basis based on the jurisdiction? Is it the consumer price, or is it the, you know, the net price that's being recorded as revenue to the hotel? And then on top of that, you may have volume commitments based on, you know, yes, you've got to produce X hundreds of room nights, you know, a year to get eligibility for this, or once you go over this, you get some sort of additional, you know, override commission or something like that. And that's pretty complicated. So you hear groups talking about revenue management and doing this, they aren't talking about all those terms and conditions, and that is really what makes a hotel product.
I think to Stuart's point, I don't think it's so much the impact that it's going to create for travelers. I think it's the statement of confidence that it's putting out, that Hilton has decided to exhale along with Marriott. And for so long, they've been waiting, thinking they're not wanting to irritate the guest experience with extending the cancellation policy, because they were always, that was one of the lead hooks that came into the downturn was, okay, let's shorten up our cancellations. Let's get rid of attrition clauses and group stuff and blah, 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 try to generate some of this converted revenue. But now, I think in my mind, though, they kind of waited to the last song of the party, and just as the song's wrapping up, jumped on the dance floor to dance, and yet the music stops. I think doing this now is like 6 months from them having to resend it, pull it back again, because I think in 2018, they're going to have to figure out ways to manipulate their market share, and this will be one of the things they can go back to and say, hey, we're going to reduce it down the same day or 24 hours. It's kind of like, you're a little late to the party to be doing this. Maybe do it a year and a half ago when RevPARs were already at peak, you know, or something.
Well, and I think that's it. I think that, you know, the RevPARs are at peak right now, and I think, you know, going forward, it's starting to, you know, get kind of questionable of how much these are going to be jumping. So this is the time to do it when it's good, and I think they're planning on this will be the new standard, and it will always stay. It's the same thing the airlines did, right? And the airlines take their little round robin approach to you know, once you get these things consolidated, it's like, okay, who's going to, I think Delta was the first one to zero out travel agency commissions, and maybe it was United who was the one who added the bag fee first, and American did so, and they just kind of take turns going, we're going to, you know, rein this stuff back in. So Marriott took the step up, you know, this time, you know, being the largest, and said, we're going to 48, and I'm sure, you know, I'm not saying there was any collusion between the various groups, but Hilton could have gone back and said, no, we aren't going to do it, but it's in Hilton's best interest, being that large, to go, hey, Marriott did it, we're right behind it. And Marriott guys are pretty smart. They probably figured that would be the case, that Hilton would be going, thank you very much, we didn't have to do it.
Right. Well, I mean, also too, to be able to give something, it has to be taken away first. And if they're going to be smart about their membership development that they're doing with this direct booking program, they have to give some value relationship to it. And if you already are giving everything to everybody already, it's a little hard to find something else that's not costing you to add to it. So if they put this back into place for everyone, it does give them the room in their membership relationship to reduce that as not a function of the membership relationship. So
yeah, I could definitely see that, once the dust settles a little bit, them coming back and saying members is still 24 hours, or it becomes 24 hours now, for sure.
Yeah, well, and certainly you have some groups like Kempinski, Omni, Outrigger, a bunch of them are part of Global Hotel Alliance, right? I can't remember how many brands they have, but they've got their Discovery kind of uniform program, and Omni has select guests, and it's slightly different, but they also are part of this overall major group. And they have, certain tiers of these are, yes, you can get a guaranteed reservation if you're in the top tier. I think if you're in the black tier, it's 48 hours in advance. You just say, I want a room, and you get one. It doesn't matter if they're oversold or whatever. That just happens. And I think if you're in the platinum tier, which is one step down, that's 24 hours before you are guaranteed availability. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll play around with the cancellation time frame necessarily. But again, I think all the hotel chains would love to have it list like the airlines, where you go, hey, you pay up front when you say, and your credit card is charged, and it used to be you could get your money back, or you had a credit against something. Oh no, it's non-cancelable, non-refundable, non-transferable. It's gone.
No,
but again, very different industries. They aren't going to get there.
No, just for the record, Stuart and I had a sidebar conversation. We bashed Ed for being too soft these days.
Holly's joining.
Yay, Holly! Yay! And one of those contentions were that last week's show, he pointed out to me that I was a little harsh on the blockchain discussion from High Tech, that I was a little harsh on banging on the committee's decision to only offer up shiny objects as to the things that they're trying to add to their revenue, or to their budgeting. And he said that I was a little harsh in the show. And Stuart realigned me and reminding us that one of the incentives of this show is a no holds barred, my opinion is my opinion conversation. So we think Ed has softened up a little bit. It's just saying that maybe
it's unacceptable.
He's not that hard edge guy that we thought. Holly, how are you this morning?
I'm good. Sorry, I've been listening while I was making my coffee. I was a little late today. It's early for me here, remember?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But it's already a balmy 98 degrees, I bet.
Probably.
Yeah.
I have the best weather forecasting app. Do you guys have WTF forecast?
No, you said that before. Yeah.
It is fantastic, especially when you live here. It's very entertaining.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say my dad always had the best weather and we grew up in Seattle, right? So his weather forecast, and he always beat the guys on TV, was tomorrow there's an 80% chance of it being just like today.
Yeah, that's for sure. Same here. They broke in on some TV show yesterday to tell us that there was going to be rain.
Oh,
it didn't hit here. I haven't seen it yet.
Yep. Yeah. So, I want to solve your mystery as to why Scout tears up your couch. Henry.
Scout's
is it Henry?
The perfect one, yeah.
Oh, Scout's the good one. Henry's the one that tears up. Okay, I'm trying to find out why. I actually asked my vet. I did, because I was over there because we had to bring our little puppy in. And so while I was up there, it's like, I have a friend has a spaniel, and he keeps messing with the couch. It's like they're just energetic. They're looking for birds, critters, something. Yeah, that's what they look for. And so when they see something they can move, they want to move it to go look. And that's like, I'll have to share that with her. So
yep. Henry caught another bird yesterday. I have 2 Springer Spaniels. Oh. And Henry brought me another dead bird yesterday.
And those are wonderful gifts, aren't they?
Oh, yes. The gift that keeps on giving.
Hey, you're perfect. Your timing is perfect, because one of the things we wanted to talk about today, or one of the things was that, like, we're going into budget time. And I know that we were on the digital marketing call together, and I kind of last show pushed around the fact that I wasn't really overly impressed with the contributions of what they thought were going to be adding to the 18 budgets. And because I thought it was kind of shiny object syndrome that we kind of talk about a little bit, but it kind of turned into what's the newest thing we're going to add, rather than nobody really mentioned taking on the fundamentals. And I've made that as a comment, just saying, look, before you start chasing down VR and AR and AI and all this other stuff, what are you doing that's core that you just finally have been able to flatline with everybody? Like, have you created consistent websites for everybody? Have you created consistent SEO programs or SEM or whatever?
Well, so I will defend Isaac and Two Roads Hospitality, because they have done that stuff. I mean, that's what Isaac has been working on literally for the last 2 years, was getting the fundamentals in place. And so now I think it's okay for them. The other problem is when you have those kind of conversations, nobody wants to say, I'm working on the fundamentals, because they've been
on the white wall. Yeah,
we're trying to actually, book the revenue correctly for these people who are staying. Yeah. We're having problems with our night audits, and so we're really going to try to straighten that out.
Not
exactly.
No,
so I do think that's a little bit of a challenge.
Let me tell you, I went to the Milestone Internet Conference. Your Engage thing in Chicago. It was outstanding. That conference, probably the highest signal to noise ratio. That is the only way I can describe. Really, really great quality, actionable. Here's stuff that's happening, that's working, and the theme of it was focus on the basics. And it was great. Yeah.
Who spoke?
A whole bunch of, actually most of it were the Milestone, the various specialists, being in SEO or paid or all that sort of thing. They did a great job. And then they had a guy who was kind of like your inspirational speaker type thing, which actually I had to get out. I didn't really see his thing because I had to take a phone call, so I wound up doing that. But
you're inspired enough. You need that.
Yeah, who wants to be? I have this to inspire me every week.
I used to work for them. Did you know that?
Oh, really? I
Milestone. Yeah.
Oh, for Banu and Anil. Yeah.
Banu is a genius. I mean,
she's
the best out there.
SEO, amazing.
Yeah.
Yep.
He's incredible.
Yep. So
I got quite an education. I was there for about a year.
Yeah. Yeah. No. So they were very good. They had somebody from Google come in and
that's right.
The head of travel for Google, one of the 4 dozen of them. So, like, you're the head of travel for what? Just the Miracle
Don't tell
Mile?
everybody that, Robert. We like putting that up on conference.
Leave the mystery up. Leave the mystery.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
People don't need that as 1,000.
Can we see an org chart, please? Well, no, actually, it was for years that, like, everybody thought Rob Torres was kind of the face of it. He reported to Jane Butler, and I don't know what Jane's doing, but she was always behind this. She was kind of running the whole ad thing for Google. So yeah, I don't know. I know certainly the head of travel for Google on the product side is Oliver Heckman, and he is the guy building the stuff. Now, all the other heads of travel work in the advertising group, so they're selling ads, which is great. And I mean, they're smart people and they're good and everything. But and I'm trying to figure out how Pavelko. I don't know if I think Pavelko may work for Taurus, or I'm not sure. I still want to see an org chart.
So I didn't put this into the notes listing of it, but because it was more to say specific to one of the agencies. But Hebs did an interesting pricing model rollout. That I don't know, Stuart, you might have seen it also, but they're doing monthly. So I thought it was kind of interesting. Where the monthly website development, monthly, and it was an interesting
subscription.
Yeah. So it wasn't in the traditional relationship sense that usually creates obstacles when presenting to future clients, pricing situations, budgeting requirements, and so forth. They come in and say, look, we'll fit. They deconstructed the problem and say, what's the real pushback? And that is the monthly expense relationship. So let's break this down to a monthly value proposition, and you buy into a monthly retainer value that is specific to a subscription.
Well, I like to say that mimicry is the best form of flattery, and I'll say this, that Fuel's been doing that for about 12 months. Now, we didn't think it was as big a deal as it is. Yeah. So we the websites, that's always been our challenge. Getting in there and someone wanting to drop a few $1,000s on a website has always been a challenge. So taking that from being a CapEx expense to now an operational expense is a much easier sell. We've had a lot of success going that route as well. So
and that's because of Hebs, I think, because of their ownership. because they were acquired last year, and the same group actually acquired Serenata, right? And so these guys are smart investment people, and they are sitting there trying to figure out how they go acquire and put together a basically a SaaS-based
monthly revenue as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a SaaS-based marketing tech stack, right? Is basically
and it makes sense as well. I mean, from both parties. One is obviously a value proposition for the hotel. There's not the big capital investment, but when you look at the life cycle of a website too, say you're redesigning a site every 2.5, 3 years, something like that, I'd say would be average. Hebs is ending up ahead on it. You know, our break-even point is about 15 months. At about 15 months on the monthly subscription, we get ahead. So if people are redesigning every 2 years, it ends up making us more money in the long run, but they're happy to do that because of deferring the cost. So it's win-win for sure.
And then you just have to make sure that after you launch a new website, they don't cut you off the next month. I guess that's a difference. But again, you've got a new website for them, and if it works, they're like, "Hey, this is great," and they're thankful to keep going. And
you open this can up for me to ask this, Stuart. It's like, first off, I remember you saying that you did this model, which is why it's cool that Hebs is always good about promoting itself in that sense. They're very good about announcing these things. Yes, but to your end, and this is strictly from a consulting point of view, I'm having more and more discussions with clients that are not looking for proprietary platforms, although they appreciate the integration capabilities of it. Okay, you can plug together things because they're on the same integration and so forth. But what's happening now is more and more conversations are coming up in these relationships where let's get on a program like a WordPress for those who qualify, and I mean qualified that they WordPress can handle everything that they're looking to do, and then now it turns into a theme change conversation where it's not a constant rebuild. But you're building framework within the WordPress environment that then allows you that in a year and a half or a year, whatever you like, you start doing skin changes so that you can continue a fresh look, but the platform stays consistent. What is your kind of conversations on those that you're having?
Yeah, we have that conversation. So let's look at why the proprietary systems exist, right? So if we rewind 10 years ago, CMSs were in their infancy and there weren't any open source platforms. So everyone had their own kind of proprietary system. And the folks that invested in it first were the big guys, like the Hebs of the world. And they developed some pretty robust tools, which didn't exist anywhere else, right? And then things like WordPress came along, and for the longest time, it was a glorified blog platform. It wasn't really a full CMS. But now fast forwarding 5-10 years, WordPress, and I'd say there's some other tools out there. If you're a little more technical, things like Expression Engine or Drupal or Joomla, you can do similar things. But WordPress specifically has created a tool that allows you to deploy what would have cost you $20,000-$30,000 to custom build 5 or 10 years ago, very rapidly, and it's scalable. It's extensible. You can find resources to support it. So what Fuel has done over the last 5 years, because we used to have a proprietary system and we were supporting it. And when someone wanted something new, it was, okay, we've got to go through our development lifecycle. We've got to build this out and then we'll roll that out to all our clients. And then you'll find bugs and you'll fix the bugs. And it was, it's cumbersome. But now with WordPress, you can tap into such an army of people, smart people that have created so many smart tools that we can deploy very complex systems very, very quickly, and they work really well. So what we've invested in is, rather than building our own proprietary system, is we've built our own custom theme core and then built designs on top of it. And if someone likes someone else's design, we'll take that and build it into our core. So you're exactly right. All our clients are on essentially the same CMS, but it's an open CMS that they own. So if our relationship goes south, they can take it with them. We're not holding them hostage. They own the code. They own the site. But we can deploy changes quicker. We have fewer bugs. And if they want to redesign, it's changing a theme, like you said. It's not going through a whole redesign process, which anyone that's gone through a redesign process will say it's one of the most stressful things you can do from a marketing perspective. It's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, and with WordPress, depending on and the big thing now with WordPress, besides the themes and some of the frameworks, right? So some of they are working with some like a Fuel, they're using a Genesis framework or something like that, which is pretty robust, pretty robust stuff where you can do a lot of interesting things. But the real key, I think, is people have attempted, if they don't know what they're doing, they wind up adding all these plugins, and all of a sudden the quality of these plugins, they can be very, very popular, but they can do all sorts of nasty crap in terms of slowing down the site, pulling information to other things. I mean, just really, really ugly stuff, not play nicely together. And that's a real, you need some expertise.
It's a huge risk, right? Not just from an efficiency of the site perspective, slowing down, like I said, but also a security risk. It's a major
absolutely.
And WordPress gets a bad rap because it's perceived. I mean, it's the biggest CMS on the internet. The more sites are built on that platform than anything else. But you see a lot of high-profile hacking issues with it. But if you don't use it like the Wild West, you don't just go willy-nilly installing every little plugin you find. If you stick to the core plugins that you're familiar with, that continue to get serviced, that are compatible with your theme,
huge.
You have to be disciplined. You can't just go out there and hack through it and figure stuff out, because you're going to end up with something that has major exploitation holes, and then you end up getting hacked, and you're in all kinds of hurt. But if you do it right, if you approach it the right way, it's a very secure platform.
Yeah, and you have to be very careful because, yes, WordPress is open source, but you can also have people build their own custom plugins, which they bring in, which can architecturally hamstring the site, where all of a sudden you leave, you don't necessarily, that's not our plugin, and then all of a sudden everything falls apart.
Yeah, and then you can't go through an upgrade of the core. And so you've got to be smart. You need to, go ahead.
Or they do a plugin and then they don't maintain it, and the core changes and upgrade, and then all of a sudden they don't have the ability or don't want to spend the funds to go retool their plugin because it's not doing things, the right way. So it can be a minefield.
I just built a WordPress site this week.
You did?
Wow. I did. Awesome. And I was going to add 1,000 plugins, so I'm really glad I was here.
Yeah,
you really got to be careful.
It's like a candy store.
Yeah.
And some of that candy will kill you.
Exactly.
Going to fundamentals, the two biggest sets of types of plugins to first look at is security measure plugins and measurement and tracking plugins. Those first and foremost, make sure that you have the best that you can find in them and place them on there. And then from the rest of that, you can go forward. Because to Robert's point, some plugins open up things like comments or permalinks and shit, stuff like that creates security breaches. And so you need to have the security and tracking in place first. And then some other ones is like AMP and stuff like that. You can plug in and create certain page builds for AMP so that you can get your speed factor up and stuff. So there's some very cool stuff. Hey, there's a cool tool that is kind of it was built for one thing, but it's really helpful for others, called LeadStack. And what it does is it creates a one-page business proposal. It's a finited business proposal, and it is exceptionally cool because it really allows you, especially for someone like me, like I have all these ideas, so I'll build lead stacks out. I'm like, I want to do this, and it makes you go through the entire process that a business plan does, but not in a stack, 40 pages of rhetoric and so forth. It's a single page that you end up acid bathing down to as a crucible that looks at feasibility and revenue potential, whatever it is that your goal set is for it, and you can make variances of them, so you can really begin to dissect out an idea that you have and really break it down. And I'm thinking from a budget season point of view, I started doing this for my clients where I'm breaking down budget proposals based on promotion values, which I had never done before. I always based it on cyclic business cycle, cost evaluations for business campaigns, seasonalities, and so forth. And instead, I'm constructing a marketing plan based on promotional cycles associated with their business cycles and platforms being used. And this tool has turned out to be crazy helpful because rather than getting yourself spun into a corner, it really brings it down to a page. Here's all your SWOTs. Here's all your analysis, revenue opportunities, challenges, unique factors, so forth and so on. It's a really neat program. There's a couple of books that have been written on how to do it.
Is it LeadStack? Like LeadStack.com?
Yeah, it's just a neat. I've been totally into this thing for right now for this past week because I'm building plans up for a couple of clients. And it's just like, this has just been such a great way. Because, I mean, I have project management tools and stuff that are helpful once you've decided what you're going to act on, timeline them out, Gantt them, and all that. But this is just a crazy cool tool for building ideas.
It has to be something a little different than leadstack.com.
Let me see.
Leadstack.com goes to dialtel.com, which is hosted IVR services. So there you go.
Just Leadstack.
If it's new, it's probably like .io or some.
Yeah. I'll send you the link. I'll put the link into the top bar to it on the side here in just a second. But it is crazy cool.
But going back to budgets and websites specifically, I mean, we still, and talking about fundamentals, we are still seeing most of the people we talk to still don't cut it from a mobile perspective.
Right.
And that is one of the fundamentals. I mean, back in 2014, we hit the tipping point from traffic perspective. I've got clients now where they're getting close to tipping point from a revenue perspective being mobile first. We were looking at some data this morning of folks that we switched from, I'm not going to name a competitor's booking engine product to our booking engine. And the increase in conversion rate on mobile is just, it's quadrupled year over year. And they're at 47% of their revenue now is coming from a mobile phone. And these are leisure resorts, I would say unsophisticated demographics. 47% of revenue, not traffic. They're at 65% traffic is now mobile phone, and 47% of revenue is mobile phone. So we're getting close to that tipping point on mobile, and yet so many people don't have a mobile friendly, or should say mobile first website. Right. And certainly don't have a mobile first booking engine.
Wait, sorry. You mean of web bookings, 47% mobile,
correct?
53%. Yeah. Okay, I was like, what?
No, Holly, all the group stuff. It's all mobile.
Sorry, all the groups. So online bookings. So 40 online direct bookings to be clear. So but that's crazy. That's insane.
Actually, that is an interesting point, though, because between the group thing of people being able to book on mobile, through things like Cvent or whatever the case may be, or on some they're connected through some GDS on some sort of managed platform, like a Concur or something like even on Concur or a GDS. A lot of that stuff probably is mobile. Hotels have no idea, but I would think there may be it may be a relatively high percentage now.
That is really a high percentage.
Mm-hmm. Well, ours is, and I found this out, I use another platform called Whatagraph, which is pretty cool because it automates nice graphic reports for clients. And so I'm looking at them one day and I'm like, wow, look at this, because it was skewing stuff, the breakdown of revenue gen based on platform, but based on country. And it is very different domestic versus international when it comes to the rev gen. Internationally, it's all desktop. Well, not all, but it's predominantly desktop. And yet domestically, of course, it shifts to what Stuart was saying is more of a mobile platform usage. So
can I throw in one thing just on the speed and things like that and being mobile friendly? I've got a crappy website, right? Rockcheetah.com is not. It was built. I built it like 5 years ago, but on WordPress, right? But I use some pretty good plugin. I try to focus on the basics. And if I go into, everybody familiar with Test My Site, which is think with Google. Actually, I should put up that. Let me go post that in the sidebar. Whoops. Sorry about that.
It's a nice site.
Yeah, it's okay. But
yes, Lauren.
But if I even with this being on
Stuart, can't you help Lauren?
We need to have a little
painter's house is the last one to get painted.
No, mine's okay. Mine looks okay.
Nice.
But performance-wise, if I go to Test My Site, loading time 2 seconds, excellent. Estimated visitor loss low. I mean, it's like, damn it, yeah. And unfortunately, Google is messing me up, because if that was really bad, I would probably go in and fix it, which I really do need to upgrade it. And I've got a bunch of ideas to do it, but I just don't really have the time. But it's performing pretty well, right? So, and again, I owe that to picking like the right plugins in terms of, some of the speed and caching stuff, and using Cloudflare and some of these things that I use, which just pick up the speed. And it's not, it's not where it should be or where I would love it to be. But it's performing. But I did a quick little thing when the Google people were talking at the Milestone conference, right? Because they were pushing the test my site thing. Okay. Oh, let me see if I can get this right. Marriott was horrible. I just did the home page. 12-second load time. Hilton,
look at all the clutter they've got and all the data they've pulling.
Hilton was at 8. And I mean, all these guys were horrible. And then you looked at some of the smaller ones, and they're like, okay, they're doing. Hotels.com was like a 3.
Yeah,
right?
Expedia has been running 3.8, 4.2 for a long time. They've been always fast on load. But
and you look at the OTAs or hotels.com was like at 3 or something. And again, you look at the site and it goes no low loss. Excellent. And you're looking at Marriott and Hilton, it's like, you are crap. And it's like, come on, guys, you gotta do this better.
Well, like how you're making it a website now, and it's scary. It's like a candy store with all the things you can do, and then it's looking up a tall mountain, going, how much you don't know. Like there's just so much out there. You're like, I didn't even know there was that to be worried about. And there's 15 plugins for it. You're like sitting there going, damn. But again, the mobile focus first is the critical element to all that.
And Robert touched on something. He kind of blazed through it, but he mentioned Cloudflare. If you have a hotel website and you're not using some kind of CDN or caching service like a Cloudflare, then you're just leaving money on the table, because it can significantly, 1, speed up your site, but 2, it gives you redundancy that you wouldn't necessarily have on your own. So it's inexpensive. And it can shave several seconds off of your site, and then you don't have to worry about it ever going down. So I would definitely recommend everyone check out Cloudflare.
Cloudflare Max CDN is another really good, really good one. Depending, kind of 2 different. Cloudflare is really pretty easy. But again, you have to look at it at what plugins do you have, because if you're using like if you're using a particular plugin to speed up your stuff on your website, that's great. But then you layer in Cloudflare, and sometimes things are minifying, and you're getting conflicts in there, and you just
can catch stuff you shouldn't. Like if you've got like a capture on your site or something, sometimes you can get some issues with that. But my recommendation is if you're doing a website, have somebody professional help you, because as opposed to being in the candy store, it's a lot like Charlie the Unicorn going to Candy Mountain. So if you've seen that. Are you familiar with Charlie the Unicorn?
No, honey, no. It's just the whole idea of
the ice cream guy.
No, you guys. Okay, I will post.
I'm gonna share a link.
I will post a link of a YouTube video. This is one of the greatest YouTube videos ever created. Charlie the Unicorn goes to Candy Mountain.
No.
If you are not familiar with it, it's great. I'm not going to tell you.
Did you put your GTM? Did you put GTM on your site for analytics? Did you put your GTM show, or do you just do Google Analytics on your site?
Who are you directing that?
Oh, Holly.
Oh, I just did Google Analytics.
Okay, if you get the chance, get into the show, because then you can put your Facebook pixel and everything else. But
we've gone to Google Tag Manager for all our new installs, and it's gone from where, because we do complex analytics where we're tracking literally every field on every form and things like that, and it used to require developers to get into the code and put tags in the right place. But with GTM, our analytics team does all our encoding for our analytics now. It's great.
I just learned, this seems naive, but I just learned that you could variant out your UA tracking code, so you can have multiple UA tracking code, subvariants of it, and use them for different things in your shell. I'm like, what? I was using the same data UA track code in my shell for everything. And it's like, no, you can sub out, and then you start getting to the mutation stuff. You start muting out the data as to what you want that shell to be. And it's like, frick, that's scary stuff.
Yeah. Well, but again, you can do stuff, relatively simply. But using Tag Manager, one of the things that I really look at is all sorts of sites, you'll have your menu navigation and you'll have all sorts of stuff to link off to other pages, right? You'll have your featured story or whatever, and it all goes to the same place. But tagging those so you know that it wasn't just somebody clicked on the link from the home page, but they clicked it from the menu or the feature or the link in the text.
Right.
Outrageously helpful, because you go, nobody's doing it from this big, wow, we've got this big carousel it's beautiful. And you go, hey, nobody ever clicks that or does it. Is that helpful?
Yeah.
Sure. So
now, Holly, if you get the GTM shell on there, which again is as easy as putting the UA on there, and there's even plugins that'll do it for you, is that you got to put your LinkedIn in. For BizGen, LinkedIn Pixel is rocking. Mm-hmm. It does some great tracking. The LinkedIn Pixel, the Facebook Pixel, well, Facebook when you start advertising, but LinkedIn Pixel, when you start doing that and you start looking at BizGen from LinkedIn and you have their pixel on your site for people engaging with your site, it turns into crazy correlation. And then look at a program called SalesFlare, which is also real cool.
Yeah. But there are, and that's actually the thing with WordPress or something that's an open CMS, right? You can do so much stuff. You can go and say, hey, that's okay, I'll use HubSpot or something like that, and you can start going in and doing that. Or a group that I worked with a couple of years ago is a financial services company. We wound up going to WordPress. That was good. Migrated all their stuff over, but then wound up using Gravity Forms and Salesforce and what was the ExactTarget, which has now been acquired by Salesforce itself. But the combination of those things were fantastic, and the ability for those to work with the platform, it was amazing. I mean, you would have a little form that you could condition by page, and you could do it by region or whatever. Set up your Gravity Forms right, and then all of a sudden those leads are going into Salesforce, getting fed to the right person because it happens to be their sector of the business. We never threw in. Now there are a bunch of other groups at the time, though, was Mongoose Metrics, which was actually setting up custom telephone numbers based on these. And it was great. People would get we tested it. People would get a screen pop, and you would know what page they came from, where they were, all this stuff. Absolutely amazing. So all of a sudden, the whole conversation of, who are you and what is this and what are you interested in, and all that qualifying stuff that eats up this prospect's time, all of a sudden just can go away. And if you do it wrong, you can freak them out too. So you don't want to, especially if it's tied with retargeting. You have to be very, very careful.
And you can do all of that with no coding whatsoever. It's all
absolutely
click. Set up. Yeah.
So let me ask you something. I'm literally thinking about going to coding boot camp. Is there any value in that, and really learning the coding end of it? I mean.
I mean, if you're on a WordPress site and you're depending on what you're doing, I mean, you might want to learn PHP and then kind of how that works and some different things if you're going to do some stuff. But I don't know.
Rather than knowing to just go to the mechanic, you actually know how it works, because sometimes like little silly things like knowing to make a child theme so that then when you do updates in WordPress, you're not kicking back any changes you've done to the base CSS platform. Where you take out the generated by WordPress crap and stuff, and it comes back after you do a regen. Being able to do those things, that's helpful. You at least know how the things work.
Yeah, CSS, some of those things, but again, some of these themes are so powerful. Or you start using something like a Genesis or something. A lot of this stuff does it for you almost. So, but again, I don't know. It depends on how deep you get, because the deeper you go, you want to know how the plumbing's working, because you can really mess yourself up. So,
Stuart, what were you?
I agree. Well, I agree. I think there's a value in understanding the fundamentals of the structure of WordPress, how things like plugins in themes, in child themes, can be manipulated in the right way, because there's a lot of wrong ways to do things in WordPress. You can break a lot of stuff if you get to the complex side of it. But I know a lot of people that have zero coding skills, that have accomplished amazing things without writing a line of code, because there are a lot of plugins, and if you use the right ones and you're smart about it. So I think, to me, it's more, I don't think you have to go and understand the code, but I think there's a benefit to that. And if you enjoy that side of problem solving, then I would say definitely go do it, because there is a value to knowing how it works and what to avoid. I think probably more importantly.
Yeah. I think plus it would be fun.
It depends on what kind of coding boot camp. If it's a Python, it's a WordPress coding boot camp.
No. It's a
Python.
Walk out of there with a full stack development portfolio. I mean, it's pretty intense. It's 6 months, 30 hours a week.
Oh
yeah.
I mean, it's period. It's not like
that's making a career out of it. That's making a career. That's
which I don't want to do. Except I do. I do sort of want to learn this stuff.
That might be excessive.
I want you to go, because then you come on the show. You'll tell us all this.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that's how
Paulie will be hacking Webinar Jam to do sort of, we'll have an overlay pop up on this with a screen. You don't have to do all this screen sharing and look up.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably dip my toe into more of a WordPress, like a higher level WordPress, understanding the structure and the architecture and how everything intertwines. But learning full stack, especially if it's PHP, MySQL, CSS, JavaScript. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun, but you can get in a lot of trouble once you know that stuff.
I know.
Oh yeah. No,
I'll send you the.
You can learn enough to be dangerous is the problem, which I put myself in, and I'm not, CSS and I do not work together at all. I mean, do not have me try to do any. But boy, I can do a whole bunch of stuff with with MySQL and stuff. Yeah, but yeah.
I'll tell you what, Ollie, as a personal recommendation of how I see you, I would recommend, for all the ideas that you have and the crazy ways that you see the world and how you could fix it, I'd say go learn app development. Take a class in Coffee and go and learn either iPhone or Android, either way, both if you want. And go get your developer license. It's $99 with Apple, and just go through a course. And that way you don't feel fettered. Like if you have some crazy idea of I have a solution for this, you actually could build a working model at the very least.
That's what I want to do. That's exactly what I want to do.
Because you have great ideas. And it's just the stumbling part is, how do I get it from here to there kind of thing? And this would give you at least a conduit for it. So I would just say, personally,
you're tired of me just calling you.
But if you build the app on the WordPress CMS, then you can have your child themes and you can sell it and you can start doing all this stuff.
And then I'll be one of those guys that keeps buying your products because I buy everything that comes out.
And then when you're just rocking it, you can go buy fuel at a pretty good multiple. Like Stuart will be happy, and then you can go roll in Flip2 because by that time you're going to be rocking, and then you can acquire the guys who got Hebs and Serenata, and then you're going because you know how to code.
It's Ollie instead of Amazon. Do you see that Amazon picked up Sears? That collaboration? Today.
Oh well,
Sears is going to sell Kenmore through Amazon. Their product line through Amazon now. And Sears looks at it, they literally came out and made the statement, we don't see ourselves existing in the long-term future on our own. So they collaborated. Maybe this is just an experiment from Amazon or not, but Amazon's been scooping relationships up for a lot of brand name product representation on their platform now.
That's not Amazon. That's Sears. That's Sears throwing in the towel.
Oh, yeah, I know. But I'm just saying that's where Sears has gone with this, is they're selling their Kenmore products now.
Yeah,
on Amazon.
Great for Amazon. It's great for Amazon.
Great for Amazon, and that will probably save portions of Sears.
Their stock went up 25% in one day for temporary gain.
They'll probably close more brick and mortar, and probably make profit.
And
Kenmore might start using them as distribution outlets or lockers or something.
But between Kenmore appliances, Craftsman tools, all those sorts of things.
But they've sold all those out. They've subsold those all out. They still under the Sears umbrella, but they're sold out. Yeah, Kenmore, Craftsman, all of those ones have been sold into subsidiaries that still operate under the Sears umbrella, but they're separate entities now.
Yeah.
But are they separate? Is there separate ownership though? I mean, is the equity held externally?
Yeah, there's a separate ownership that Sears has a portion of. I don't think they completely sold them off, but they're portion value.
So yeah.
But still, I mean, we're going to probably see more and more of that, where more representation in Amazon for brand representation and some brick and mortar, because Kmart's are closing faster than even know if it's. I mean, if you go to Kmart, first thing you do is check to see if it's still open.
And that's Sears doing
the same thing. Yeah, for sure. Anyone that doesn't think that Amazon is going to control everything here in the next few years, then they're crazy. Because I mean, their business model where they really don't care about profit, they're reinvesting every profit. I mean, they bought Whole Foods. They're getting into the produce side. They're now I saw this week that they're gonna start tackling the home delivery for like to compete with Blue Apron and stuff like that.
Oh, absolutely.
By leveraging that acquisition.
Well, did you get your Amazon wand? Did you get your Amazon wand?
I haven't got it yet.
I got mine. Hey, I got mine. I actually left it down in Florida. It's a little. I had it on the previous show. If you look at it, I was holding. It's about this long. It's a little stick, and it has a button, and it's Alexa, and you can talk to it just like that. But it's only
like a smart dash, right? Instead of having a single button.
A smart dash button.
It's a smart dash button. You can also ask it other questions like you do Amazon Echo, where you can go over and say what's the weather, time, sports, all, and you can actually have it integrate with it. But it only worked with Amazon Fresh when it first rolled out. Now it works with Amazon Prime. They just announced they rolled out, or Amazon Now, not Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime via Now, where you have 2-day delivery option with it, where it's just a little one. It's magnetized. You put it on the refrigerator, or it's got a little hook loop so that you can hang it, and you just talk to it, or you can barcode scan. It's got a barcode reader on it, and you just take your product, barcode it, and it adds it to your list.
No.
Yeah. So how long before Amazon starts getting broken up?
$25 off. So.
2020. That's actually I'll post another thing, which was Scott Galloway's thing. I can't remember if I mentioned it last week or not.
I think you did. Yeah.
But I'll do L2 Inc. I will pull it up.
And he's predicting that'll be the first $2 trillion market cap as well. Right?
First $1 trillion. First $1 trillion market cap.
Yep.
Yeah, Amazon.
Already there's rumblings that people are saying that there's an antitrust possibility with Amazon and Whole Foods, but it's going to get
no way. No,
it's just not. There's not enough market share for it to be even valuable.
They're 1.5% of the grocery store market right now. Yeah. There'll be a lot more once Amazon gets
they're there. But antitrust at the start, no, it's not going to hit any antitrust of it. Hey, speaking of trust, one of the articles I did throw in. For anybody that's traveled into the Asian market, and especially to China, WhatsApp is it. I mean, that's the app. And it hit the news on Money Magazine. I'll put the article over there. That first indication that the Chinese government, who never really has messed with WhatsApp in the sense that they've really allowed it to run its own ecosystem, for the first time, people are noticing that it is being limiting as to what exposure for images, connections, and so forth through the WhatsApp ecosystem. It hit the news on Money Magazine here. Let me throw this up. But it was interesting go ahead.
Right, I think it's a big step for them, because speaking from someone that comes from Europe and communicates with a lot of people from Europe and Asia, this is how people communicate. WhatsApp is how the majority of people communicate. It is not Messenger on iPhone like it is here. It is WhatsApp. So this is a huge deal in terms of censorship in that country, and they're coming up to some reshuffling of their government, and this is just a major play in terms of censorship. I mean, it's huge.
I'm going to look for the link. There was a great video describing, I think Microsoft made it, about WhatsApp in China on a step-by-step of how it's integrated and used. And the example kind of went like, okay, one of your friends shared a picture of their puppy just after a haircut, and you liked it, and then saw that they shared the person that did the hair grooming. You on WhatsApp made an appointment for them to come over and groom your dog, which you also shared pictures of when you paid the dog groomer. And at the restaurant that you're at, which has no servers, you order the food and pay for the food completely with WhatsApp. You go over and share the information to those friends. You pay the dog groomer who intends to go to another business who paid for groceries. It just shows the whole ecosystem of social sharing, monetization transfers, commerce, everything all on one. It's like if we took Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything, and put it on one app. That's WhatsApp.
Yeah, and China's already done some things to a lot of the other social networks, communication. Like Facebook is very limited over there already. So this is, I mean, it's not unexpected. It's very disappointing, and I think limiting for sure in the country. But what can we do? There's nothing anyone can do about it right now.
Hey, Sean Spicer just resigned.
Really? Is that fake news? Fake news. No. Fake news. No.
New York Times.
Wow. That's interesting. He's going to have a good weekend. That's all I can say.
Wow.
I'm looking for the video. So I was looking for the video for it.
Breaking
Everybody's
news.
like, you heard it here first.
That's right.
Well, I don't know.
Live news.
Actually, an interesting thing in terms of Chinese things, WeChat. I mean, WeChat is doing some amazing, amazing stuff, but they have some very, very, actually, it's very, very secure technology, which I don't think WhatsApp has. So I changed phones, right? A few months ago, and because of some kind of anomalies between Sprint and Google, they used to be integrated, right? So I've used a Google Voice account for I don't know how many years, 5 or 6 years, and Sprint used to integrate it. Well, now they don't, right? That combination is separated. So when I got my phone, I had to get on the phone a real different phone number on this, and then I have my Google Voice account listed or linked to it. WeChat, though, looks for the real number on the phone. It doesn't play nice with these virtual sort of numbers like Google Voice, which is kind of a good security thing, but I can't use WeChat. So I found, actually, Dan Waxman had it, right? So I kind of remembered Dan had WeChat because not that many people have it. So I go to him, and basically you have to find someone who has been on WeChat for over 6 months and send them a message like offline that says, hey, can you do this? I'm going to put in your phone number and, make you eligible. And then they have to go into a place on the app kind of independently and go, yes, I know them, accepted. And for some reason, Dan wasn't eligible. And I don't know why. And I believe it's because his daughter set up his phone through that process. So because he was kind of like a secondary setup, he can't then go authorize other people.
When I was over in Shanghai,
we were talking outrageously tight security, which is kind of a good thing. I mean, it's pain for me. I'm still not on WeChat. I want to use the platform, and I used to be on it, but because I changed phones, I can't do it. So,
I mean, when I was in Shanghai, one of the things I want to do is download the app because you can get the actual one over there compared to the limited one that's out there. Same too, if you ever go to South Korea, they like your Pixel runs better in South Korea because it has more functionality, and Samsung's new S8 has Bixby completely opened up in South Korea that it's limited outside of South Korea, which seems weird, but because that's the old Viv. Remember the Viv, Robert?
Right. Yep. Oh yeah. Yep.
Viv is Samsung's intelligence model. So
has been transgendered to Bixby, I believe. Yeah. So.
I've been throwing topics in. You guys have anything you wanted to toss in there? I know, Robert, you had a few on the list of and so forth.
Yeah, I'll have to.
Stuart, anything that have any particular interest?
The Rev Plus from Expedia getting rolled out to Europe is a big deal. We had when they first rolled it out here in the US, we had a couple of folks from Expedia on our podcast. I think it's episode 33. So if you go to fueltravel.com/podcast, click on episode 33, where we talked in depth with Expedia about what the product is and what it does. And it's pretty cool. And I for all the vilification that is given to the OTAs, I think this is a move in a good direction, a positive direction, that they're really trying to generate real value. And it's a free product, right? Hotels don't pay extra to get this data. And if you're a data nerd like me, looking at things like market analysis and projections is it can really help your rate parity, which ties into another article you shared, which was the study, and it was a small sample size, but they were saying only 66% of properties have rate parity. The other 34% are either higher or lower on OTAs. That's bananas. We're 2017. There's so many tools out there to prevent that from happening. So shame on you if you don't have rate parity right now. But tools like Expedia's Rev Plus, I think, can really help you in terms of where your rate needs to be.
Well, I think it's a brilliant strategy on their point, because they're so it's just a further tie-in with the organization. It's, more dependency. It's just kind of brilliant. A long time ago, I was a hotel director of sales next to the National Academy of Sciences, who brought in probably 30,000 room nights into the DC market. And so I gave them free labor. I put one of my employees in their travel office. You bet. And lo and behold, everybody assumed it was one of their employees. And, all of the hotels we managed got the lion's share. And that's exactly what they're doing with this. I mean, they're just Yeah.
That's
we
right.
Did the same, we did the same thing with the World Bank too. It was phenomenal.
And the other side that really helps Expedia with this is that the more transparency there is of other hotels' pricing and with accurate information, things like that, that doesn't necessarily drive the prices up. Right? I mean, in many cases, it does. You start looking at your competitors, and the tendency is, I need to be below them, or where should I be? Where, naturally it would be better for Expedia and the hotels and everybody to drive it up. But this is all about, how do I compete effectively? So it's genius. I mean,
I have a budgeting.
It's information for these guys so they can compete, they can shift share, and there you go.
Holly, I got a budgeting question for you. So, when you made that decision, which, by the way, I think is brilliant. Edward's with us. Hello, Mr. Ed. When you made the decision to dedicate labor towards that revenue source, did you equate their total cost to just the revenue assigned to them? Mr. Ed!
Hi!
So, did I equate their total cost with just...
So if you said they did 30,000 room nights, did you equate the salary requirements and all the extra costs associated with that person's position only towards the revenue being generated from them being in that office, or did you absorb it into the total payroll, total operation value of the hotel, knowing that there was more indirect or not directly assignable revenues that they were representing?
So this was, 20 years ago. It was,
but still, total. I mean, Ed made the choice, and it's a brilliant choice.
What she's saying, she didn't pay the person.
No, we still don't pay people 20 years later. It doesn't make any difference.
No, it was we knew it would benefit the entire property.
Okay.
And boy, did it.
Yeah. I mean, geez, not just from the business of that, but then all the exposure that you get from those people coming through.
And also it was pretty funny because all the competitors that would come and make sales calls didn't know that they were making a sales call on, at the time, a Holiday Inn in Georgetown employee. It was fantastic. So we knew everything that was going on in the market. But my point was, it's just, we were so entrenched that they were never going to get rid of us we had to continue to do a good job as a hotel property, obviously, but we were part of their staff. And so similar to what Expedia is doing, you're not getting rid of something like that.
Well, and I think this is a step in a direction for them, right? Because there's so many people saying it's an unnecessary expense, but if they start adding value, right? Because you can go buy a similar product from a TravelClick or someone else, right? That gives similar data, but you're paying money for it. So now if you're getting it for free from the OTAs and they add other products that provide value,
you're talking about the revenue tool from Expedia.
Yeah, the Rev
Plus.
Then that 20%.
Who's heading that up, right? They just took them. So Vivek from Ideas is moving to Geneva to head up that product.
Ooh, gotcha.
Interesting.
We're just talking about the direction in general and how it's adding value to something that people see as an unnecessary expense. But now, hey, do I look at this more as it's a marketing tool that has a cost of 15% of revenue, but I'm getting all this benefits? They've got to add a lot more value to get to that point. But
it's not just that. But let's not forget that modern day revenue management is where it is today because of the education that the OTAs provided to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was the basis that really pushed it.
Right.
And actually a lot of modern e-commerce approach is also because of their education of what it takes to do it the right way. So, I mean, this isn't actually that far outside of what they've done historically, which is educate their hotel partners to a level of sophistication that further benefits Expedia, but also greatly benefits the hotel.
It's a hotel as well. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, I mean, this is like in lockstep with what they've always been doing. It's now productized instead of market managers and educational events and all the other ways they've done this.
Productized at a much lower cost. So, I mean, certainly they have the development costs, but if you don't have your market managers bogged down with kind of telling people, minute by minute, day by day, arrival departure patterns and messing around in the weeds, you can then get them into, hey, now that you know all of this stuff and you're operating at this level, what can we do to get you even incrementally more?
Yeah. And it creates a standard across the platform because you were reliant on your market manager. And if you had a shitty market manager, you were limited, right? So this brings parity across
let's face it,
every geographic.
Expedia, you didn't have a shitty market manager for very long.
Right.
This is true.
Their market management team is probably one of the best teams in this industry.
Well, and they're monitored on productive. They know exactly what's going on from this basket of hotels that these guys are dealing with and prioritizing their efforts to. What was that? I couldn't read the.
Shannon. Today I'm Shannon.
Oh.
Shannon's Diet Coke.
Well, you're also well dressed. You must have had something client based, which
I did.
So
did.
Pretty spiffy compared to Mr.
Normally with his
here.
His kind of stained wife beater T-shirt.
That's right. my hair is done. My face is shaved.
Yep. Well, you missed some fun topics.
This is how I dress when I'm asking someone for money.
This is my money dress.
What you guys normally see is how I dress when someone's asking me for money.
When he's dealing with his staff.
Hey, just so you know, we did two things. One, we kind of bashed you a little bit on the softening. You're getting a little older, and you're softening your edge on some things. We'll get back to that. And the other was
kinder, gentler Ed.
Kinder, gentler Ed. Well, we'll get to that one. But the other was I threw in the article about High Tech's record attendance and Rob's
how many were students?
Attendance.
Yeah, we discussed that.
No, we already discussed. Yeah,
but we didn't talk about the research article about pricing.
Research article about pricing.
The Hilton pricing, Marriott pricing versus OTA. Research.
No, we talked about that.
Randomly shopping 83 hotels in a pool of a few thousand is research.
Yeah.
No, we didn't talk about that, but the
Piper Jaffray, boy, that's real depth of analysis there.
So just so you know, I brought up the fact that you and I had a conversation that you said, Lauren, boy, you really bashed High Tech last week on your postings about blockchain and all that stuff. You were very subtle about that, and some people are going to see this.
I believe if we're going to represent this correctly, I said, Lauren, I just read your post, and it basically said "F you,"
and I said,
"Wow,
spicy." That's what we do, And then I brought it up with Stuart, who said, "Wait a minute, are we talking about the same Ed that said that this is a no holds barred show and that we get on the edge because we want to be, on the edge?" And I said, "Yeah, I think he's getting into a softer edge."
I didn't say I didn't appreciate it. It was just it really jumped out at me. It was like "F you" and blockchain.
Pretty provocative statements, yeah. So that's where we kind of picked on you a little bit. It's like, it's getting into a softer, kinder, gentler Ed now. He goes on vacation, comes back softer.
I'm fair and balanced. I'm going on vacation again too. I think I may go to Kennedy Space Center with Tim next week.
Ooh.
There you go.
Yeah. So Stuart, if you want to come down, Tim and I are going to Kennedy.
That sounds really cool. Yeah.
My wife's like, "Why are you going to Kennedy Space Center?" I'm like, "My friend's in town. His family doesn't want to go with him."
Actually, it's pretty cool. Now they have the Atlantis display over there. I saw when it first landed, and it had the burn marks still from the reentries and stuff. I said, "That's so cool." Now they have a display hanging up and stuff. It's really neat. So yeah.
Oh, and Ed, the other thing you missed, Holly is going to go to Code Camp, and I think she's probably going to acquire fuel first, and then you're next on her acquisition.
Nice.
So she can re-architect your platforms and really get you guys going. So
I love it.
Yeah.
Fuel and Flip2 meant to be under the same roof.
Yeah,
that'd be pretty cool, man.
With Holly leading it, I think.
With Holly. Yeah.
After my coding boot camp.
Oh, Holly.
What?
I need you to remove that painting from what it's covering.
Why?
I see animated feet under that pan.
Oh, no. It's just my, I forgot to take it down. It's just my Monopoly rules of the game.
That's so much better. That's so much better.
It depends on what I'm doing. I moved my office from upstairs into my kitchen, and so if I have company, I put the flowers up. If I have you guys,
you have the rules from Monopoly in your kitchen.
It's
Lincoln Hotel.
A branded hotel thing. Oh, it's reversed. The idea. Haven't I read this to you? The idea of the game is to buy and rent and sell properties so profitably that one becomes the wealthiest player and the eventual winner. Everybody should have the rules of Monopoly. Every hotel person. And it's from 1935, rules of the game.
Mm.
Oh.
It's also desirable to erect hotels on account of the very large rent which may be charged. The game is one of shrewd and amusing trading and excitement.
See? I didn't.
As opposed to reality.
I like to run my Monopoly game like a Ponzi scheme. It's the modern day version of Monopoly.
So, Ed, to bring you up to speed, we hit the high tech, we hit the WhatsApp being targeted in China's censors, we hit the Hilton joined Marriott on the 48-hour cancellation rules.
Again, not surprising.
And yeah, and we kind of hit that. It was more symbolic in some senses, but and then we haven't hit anything about the Wyndham Hotel Group sucking up American.
They're a giant, man. Now that they don't have infrastructure standing in their way, they're the threat to the other brands.
What?
Wyndham.
Are you being sarcastic?
No, I'm being honest.
I got it. Okay, you have to blow that up a little bit more for me because I'm part of the thing I think is against them is the fact that they're not bringing some connectivity to it.
They're not bringing Synexus to American?
Oh, I don't know. From the article, it didn't say
they will eventually. Yeah.
Yeah, I imagine they will. They're now experts at porting over to Synexus. I mean, and they're also using their own version of Synexus's web PMS.
Yes.
So
well, actually, that was that web PMS Sabre acquired to get the Wyndham deal. So that's how that.
Right, but now it's also been heavily reworked.
Yeah.
And from what I hear is since it's been reworked, it's really legit. Really legit.
Yeah.
So they don't have infrastructure in their way anymore. Like if you actually look at it, they have a better tech stack now than Marriott.
Yeah. And Amadeus is working, and Amadeus is working on IHG to basically accomplish the same.
Yeah.
Same
if I was
that
on an archaic tech stack right now, I'd be very concerned about Wyndham, and I'd be very concerned about if Amadeus finishes their project.
Yeah, because if Amadeus finishes that project, they will get Marriott. If that works well for IHG.
At a premium, at a much larger premium than they got IHG at.
Oh, I think Amadeus is basically funding that, is my understanding.
Right. I would imagine.
Yeah.
So I mean, you look at acquisitions like this. So first of all, the budget hotel space is like really hot right now because all the smart money's moving out of luxury into that space to ride the next economic waves.
Yeah.
I mean,
or trough, as it may, depending on where you are in the wave. Yeah.
Call it what you will. But the pure fact is like if you look at bringing on the American brand, I mean, Wyndham knows what to do with it. They just grew. I think you're going to see them look at some of the weakness that will come in the luxury segment. I wouldn't be surprised to see them buy a luxury brand once the prices come down.
Well, they need more than just especially for their loyalty program, right? Because their loyalty program is very rich. You can stay at a bunch of Super 8s and get enough points to go stay at a
and it's
nice
working
Wyndham.
for them. I mean, they're gaining.
It is working. They're
like dramatically. So they're.
I'm playing with them. And I'm normally not a big loyalty point, but
it's because of the wizard, isn't it?
It's despite the wizard, actually. It kind of creeps me out. But,
so let me ask: is the wizard creepier than the Trivago guy, or?
Everybody loves the Trivago guy.
No,
he
is so creepy.
Oh,
but now we know your type.
No.
Women,
now there's now a Trivago girl. There's a Trivago girl.
Now we know your type. I'll be the Trivago guy.
I have many friends who love the Trivago guy. They think because I'm in the hotel industry, I must know him.
Well, don't you? I mean,
he was at the booth next to mine at the Expedia conference 2 years ago.
No, sir.
Yeah, the whole time.
Wow.
It's just an actor. Yeah, it's just an actor.
I know. I'm aware.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about how anything works. Yeah, he does. Yeah. He just shows up, reads his lines, plays the role, and not like Shatner. Actually, Shatner did very well with his Priceline.
He made more money on that Priceline stock deal than he had in his entire career up to that point combined.
Yeah.
So, did Lance say that's who he was talking about when he was talking about the autographs? $1 million in 4 days, William Shatner.
Oh wow!
Of
I don't know.
autographs.
It's possible because that would be one of the more
that would make sense.
Sought after, but yeah.
Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
I could see him getting that because he doesn't do a lot of autographs.
He wouldn't do it,
that's
though.
probably a modifier to it too. Yeah.
He wouldn't show up for 4 days.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or he showed up to the Star Wars event in Orlando. He actually sat on the panel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep.
He had a lot of coercion to get in there. It was the
Holly, are you going to join us when Star Wars World opens in Orlando? We're all going to geek out and dress up and go to the park. 2 years from now.
No. I will not be seen with you there. No.
I was all in until you said dress up.
All I have to say is one of us needs to figure out how to get them as a customer, so that way we can be in early. Because that hotel's going to sell out like for a long time.
Oh my
So
god!
did we talk about that hotel?
No. We did when you weren't here last show. We talked a little bit about the role play and
yeah. It's brilliant.
Yeah.
Honestly,
go ahead, Holly. Go ahead.
I would like to see that.
With me.
What was
Well,
that?
I mean, what's brilliant about it is in order to stay at the hotel, you need to have tickets to the park because it's going to tie together a storyline of all the different things that happen to you at both the hotel and at the park, and it's going to craft. Everyone's going to have their own individual path that they end up on, and it's all interactive. And
So
in the
are they
end,
putting
you'll
a
have a
chip
full
in your
story.
neck?
But again, Ed,
They
do you
already
really
put a
want-
chip on it. They've had a chip on every single visitor in that park now for years. It's first of all,
alarm bands.
the bands and the tickets have had RFID in them for years.
But you said also in the hotel. I mean,
yeah,
I
but
guess,
you wear your band.
Yeah.
Your band is
Your
your
hand
hotel
is your
room.
door lock. Yes.
Yeah.
You get in the room.
Yeah,
But
They play a
I'm
different
still
game
I'm still
than the rest of this
concerned about. I'm concerned about this. Okay, so they have these random things. What if you're the person whose planet is attacked and you're just taken into slavery and you're like working in some sort of, mine? It'd be
very
horrible.
similar
On
to
some sort of
traveling
outer
through
band
World Cup.
planet.
People still do
Yeah.
that. I mean,
I mean, I don't know.
adventure.
They're going to tie it into a new loyalty program. If you lower
They're going to
here-
catch you. They're going to make you their slave, put you in a metal bikini.
Lauren's just going to be so disappointed because every time he goes, he's going to end up down the path of the Sith.
yeah.
And he's going to be like, come on, I want to be a Jedi so bad. No, sorry.
I'm going to be a gray Jedi. I'm going to be the gray
Embrace
Jedi. I'm going to
your
be the balance
inner
between the two.
Embrace
Part
your
Sith,
inner
part
Sith.
Jedi.
Yeah.
Hey, but think about the cool integrations of this. I mean, just think about not knowing all the details, but just supposing of it that you're going to be sharing all this experience in social environments. So
Well, here's what's amazing.
all
There
that
are going
content.
to be no windows in the hotel rooms.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
what?
They're
No, there's
all
no
going
windows.
to be screens that look like you are in space.
You're in.
No windows.
Damn, I
windows.
got Tatooine.
You're on a spaceship. You're on a spaceship.
And simultaneously, every hotel in New Jersey is going, holy crap, that's a good idea. All this time, we could have hid the fact that we're in New Jersey by just having a screen.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah, you're on a spaceship because part of it is that you're traveling.
You're in
to
Manhattan.
So you're going to wind up getting hotels will be double loaded like cruise ships, right? You'll have your interior,
Yeah.
the exterior rooms don't matter, right? So you can just.
Right.
But just think about how crazy it is on the retail side of things, because obviously you're going to want to get into the character developments and so forth. There's going to be this massive amount of retail for cosplay outfits and memorabilia and trinkets and baubles and so forth. And then go, just like the Harry Potter exhibit with the robes and the wands and everything else. And then out of that, you're going to be sharing on their closed group environments, your experiences, your storyline, and on your own social environments. So you're getting all that content out there to drive more interest to it. I mean, it's brilliant, the combination process.
Disney
Go
is
buy
an
Disney stock. Everyone needs to go buy Disney stock.
I actually bought Disney stock when they announced Star Wars World.
Where you want to buy Disney stock is whenever they finally decide to sell ESPN, which is the thing that's dragging them.
Yeah.
Like, if they didn't have ESPN, they'd be just almost twice the size now on the market.
Well, that's probably going to get eaten up by another distributor that wants the content to be able to go on to the cord cutters.
Like
and
Verizon
stuff.
will probably end up buying that from them or something.
Yeah. Tis true. Tis true. Hey,
Holly's like, you guys.
No, actually, you know what I was thinking?
You say all these things so confidently, like you know something.
Yeah.
Do you really know something, or are you just saying it?
There was a saying at the Harvard Business School: "Sometimes wrong, never in doubt." That's what I figured,
Right.
you guys.
That's right. Obviously, all of us read that part.
But it's interesting.
Except it's actually often wrong.
No,
Never in doubt.
That's how I used to say it to the
Yeah.
Harvard MBA guy that told me that. Often wrong, never in doubt.
But you just think of all the products. But just think of all the products that Disney owns, right? Okay, so they own Star Wars. That's fine. They've got Winnie the Pooh, right? They've got the Marvel universe. I mean, it's absolutely
well. And now look at what they're starting to do on the cinema side. So Wreck-It Ralph breaks the internet. We'll have every Disney princess, Marvel, and Star Wars in it.
Yeah.
So now they're taking their lighter titles that still did relatively good, and now those titles are going to go over because they're going to be rocking the most valuable assets of Disney inside of their storylines.
Right. Yep.
C-3PO, oh no, you didn't.
And again, having owned, now that they own the franchise, they're able to create the canon. Because they can create the storylines that are tailored to whatever they want to develop in product gen, rather than having to work around what was already written. They just said, "Yeah, that's nice, but that's not the storyline anymore because we own Star Wars, and that's not it anymore." And so they're rewriting everything storyline for canon. So
And you look at what they're doing with all the old animated movies now. They're redoing them in live action. Beauty and the Beast made $1 bazillion, right?
Okay.
Jungle Book. And they did Jungle Book, right?
They're now doing Dumbo. They're doing Aladdin. They're doing Lion King.
But look at what they're doing with the access to talent. So they got Jon Favreau, who was the director of Iron Man, right?
The creator of the current modern Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
Started it.
Yeah. So, but then he did Jungle Book, and now he's doing Lion King. And so they're just developing this pool. Yeah.
Scar in Lion King.
That's right. Yeah.
Yep.
Reportedly, is that confirmed?
It's been confirmed.
It has been confirmed. Okay.
Did you resign?
I saw it on a Facebook post, so I don't know.
Ed has now confirmed it.
Now that you said that, I'm going to say it's been confirmed.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Sometimes wrong, never in doubt.
That's right.
To boldly go where we believe we should be. All right.
We're still, well, it's the same thing as Sean Spicer retiring. We're just all like, okay, we'll go with it. Or they're not retiring, resigning. So
resigning, it's true.
Maybe retiring.
I don't think he wants to come back to anything similar.
Yeah. Hey, just Ed, since you popped in late to the conversation earlier on, I was going to be interested in what you thought about Hilton joining Marriott on the 48 Hour. Stuart made a very good point that probably won't impact travelers per se that much, but from an industry perspective, we had a little dialogue. Any thoughts about it?
I actually think one of the impacts that would be kind of nice about it is availability to facilitate early check-in better. Like, because they'll actually be able to target exactly who's going to be on site versus who's going to no-show.
Yeah.
You know, and so when you actually look at who's most likely to be the kind to cancel within the short window, it's probably also the people who are the higher rated members of the loyalty, because they're the hardened road warriors that, you know, book, you know, airline tickets that can be changed last minute and, you know, basically change meetings and their stay patterns at, you know, last minute. It's going to restrict a bit of that, which will actually make it easier to operate the hotel, I think. From an operational standpoint, from something that would actually benefit owners, I think that's one of the big pieces. And then, God, I mean, a 48-hour cancellation is still a very reasonable cancellation. Yeah. And honestly, the people who are going to benefit the most from that are going to be the travel insurance people, because they're going to sell a shit ton more travel insurance.
That's a good point. Actually, hadn't thought about the travel insurance people
and all the people who share with that, because the margins are quite good and the revenue shares are quite rich.
Yeah.
Taking notes. Hey, again, going back to topics that you guys threw into the pile and ones that were already there. We already hit about China's censorship stuff and things like that. But any of the other topics kind of jump out at you on, SiteMinder? We've had SiteMinder discussions before.
Oh, SiteMinder going to GDS, it makes sense.
Yeah.
They're big enough now. They should.
Yeah. Well, I'm wondering when Sendyne is going to start dropping into this world, to be honest with you, with some of that. Because they don't have
a big enough booking engine business, though.
No, they don't. And that's what I'm wondering, where their sites are for something like that. That is a bit of a soft spot in their repertoire of things.
Because it's never been a focus of theirs. It's something they got because of an employee. Like it was an employee's IP.
Well, they sucked up a lot of micro market businesses.
Right. And so It's never been a huge focus of theirs. It's not what they lead with on selling. If we want to talk about something interesting, and I didn't realize it, did you guys know that Ideas bought a company out of the UK 2 months ago?
Yeah, hold on.
So the company out of the UK that they bought, Smart Space, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
Actually figured out a pricing scenario for event space and like all the complexity of pricing event space.
Oh,
and
wow.
So Ideas is going to bolt that together with all the room pricing capability, which means they're actually going to have automated pricing capability for complex groups.
Wow, that's great.
So if I was Sendine and like a lot of others who live in the RFP world, like Ideas is about to like make dynamic pricing possible for groups and events. Like I'd be worried about my RFP business.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I thought that was interesting.
Is the RFP business, in the sense of a cold direct channel connection, a dying art, a growing art, or a lost art? I mean,
it's the same as it's been. Like it's not. It's there. It shouldn't be there. It's ridiculous that it's there. It's a hard thing to fix.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is, because the complexity of the sale of a group, because you're talking about food and beverage, you're talking about AV, you're talking about space and room block. It's hard to price, but the fact is if Ideas just bought that company and they put that together with everything else they have, all of a sudden you can do dynamic pricing for that and actually make the decision that we want this group instead of leisure, or we don't want this group, or we want to slow down how much leisure booking we have because we haven't booked our event space yet, and if we book too much leisure we won't have enough housing to do an event for this much event space. Like that type of stuff.
Oh yeah, those trade-offs. Banquets versus
and let's not forget
it
is owned by SAS. So if anyone's going to be able to pull off bringing that to market as a combined product quickly, it's them, because they have the whole SAS infrastructure.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and then it's desperately.
So I found out about it from Ravi. So we should have Ravi on the show.
Oh yeah.
If we all want to look really stupid,
yes, we should
have Ravi on the show.
Exactly.
Because that guy's brilliant.
Yep.
Who's Ravi?
The president and founder of Ideas.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just so you know,
Dr. Ravi.
Yes.
We have some confirmations. We have SAR, who's going to be joining us on the 25th of August. He just confirmed this morning.
Who?
Which would be SAR.
SAR Fabricant.
Fabricant, yep. Before check-in. Yep.
You may not know of him, but if you've looked at anything Agilysys offers, it's mostly SAR's products.
And then Jonathan Stone, who tore his meniscus and missed us on the last show that we were going to have for him. I think show 99, he's coming back with us. And also in August 18th, I think I have
just wanted to wait till we were proven. You're not really a good show unless you're over 100.
Yeah, right. You had to hit that. Well, actually, 104 is our 2-year mark in that sense. But that's
a good point.
So yeah, I think he's actually going to be on show 105 or 104 itself. I don't know, one of the two. But he'll be joining us. So he confirmed yesterday, and then we're still looking. Holly, you're trying to reach out to Brian.
TripAdvisor.
Yeah. I'm trying to.
Do you want me on that show?
No. I mean, if you're busy, it's fine.
Yeah. Listen, I'm a fan of what they've done. I just think it's insane that hotels continue to fall for it.
Who is this? Brian who? Brian
Paya with TripAdvisor.
Yeah. No, I think it'd be excellent. So.
And then Jonathan Stone's with NewsCred, and then I said SAR's with Before Check-In.
It's just a matter of scheduling, but Amir Elan really wants to come on with, I forget who he's with, Longwood Research. He has a lot of good destination data.
Oh, they do. Yeah, they do some really cool stuff. I saw a presentation at the Florida Association of DMOs that Longwood did.
Yeah. It was probably Amir.
It was from the guy who used to be from Pure Michigan, the guy who created the Pure Michigan stuff. He works for Longwood now, and really good.
If we keep getting people like this, we should change the name of the show to like the smartest people we know.
6 dummies and 1 smart person.
Exactly.
The calendar, I think I've shared with everybody.
All of us at every one of those will think we're the one.
Yeah, that's right.
Or pick the smart person. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I have the show calendar up for everybody. If not, I'll make sure that everybody's connected to it so you can see who. So, Holly, if you see any dates that's available, because I mean, love to. I mean, right now I've been kind of staggering every other week as it is keeping open invitations. So we can fill up the gaps between those as well. But August is looking good. In September, we have an open coordination with the Hawaiian HSMAI chapter.
Yeah, how's that going to work? Have you figured that out? Are we going to Hawaii? Are they flying us to Hawaii?
Yeah, no. Go, right? They're just going to join us from there.
Our standard travel policy is first class, though, isn't it? Yeah, so.
Yes, of course it is. Private charter, actually, but yeah.
I only fly Sonic.
Well, there might be some disappointment to be shared, and also too, the timetable is going to be interesting because they're a little off on the time shift, so it might be an earlier show. We might do a special show with them, and it really depends, Holly. I'm trying to coordinate with Julie now that she's passed rock.
What do they want out of it? Do they just want us to talk to them and
we've been wanting to do this. We've been wanting to do this for a long time with a chapter, an HSMAI chapter. I was trying to get it done with Phoenix so that I could be there to sort of coordinate it. Yeah, they are good.
Great chapter. Really, to be honest with you, if we're between now and then coming up with an assortment of topics that they would like conversation on with them, they would be a live audience window for us, and then we'd be topics with them, and people would step up to the microphone and speak and dialogue.
I think we should do it as like Hollywood Square style.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would work out well. I pick Ed for 200 to block.
Somewhere between Hollywood Square style and Brady Bunch style. Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, but the idea of it is that while we're doing the 90th anniversary in DC and also the retreat and everything else, there might be an opportunity that we can actually get some participation from the America's Board or the Digital Council retreat. Or
good luck.
Don't snirk. Before we figure this out,
first of all, after the last show, if anyone from the America's Board watched that, there's no way they're doing anything with you for it.
I was not that mean to the America's Board.
You literally called people out like
I didn't use
they were identifiable.
I didn't
use their name, but you were like, this guy from a brand was saying
this. Lauren, or was it
Lauren,
the council call?
Lauren, if you do that, we have to figure out, is there something that kind of modulates the voice and then kind of blurs, maybe
right, because
none of them filter over the screen.
Their legal teams to get on a show with us.
No.
They'd have to be like, can you piece together clips where you're not berating people? We don't think we have enough.
Watch that show, apparently.
We don't think we have enough content to put a whole show together off of just clips of us not picking on someone.
Yeah, we'll take 200 hours of show and condense it down to 2 minutes of positive highlights.
It's mostly
I've got just a quick little topic here to discuss. I threw in two
lightning topic.
Lightning topic was basically these. It seems that some of these rebate-oriented programs, like Jay Walker, who was the original founder of Priceline,
who would name their son that?
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
Jay
Walker. Yeah, exactly. So,
it has always driven me crazy.
So, but the question is,
it's all right. My attorney's name is Richard Hurt.
So part of the prestigious Dewey Cheatham and Howe law firm.
Richard Hurt.
No. There's a worse one. My sister went to high school with. Oh wait, the daughter's name was Sandy Butt, and what was the? And I can't remember what the boy's name was, but it wasn't. It was not.
Was it Harry?
That's all right. I had a Dr. Potter.
Harry and Sandy Butt. Yeah, cruel, mean parents.
That's just mean.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not good. Yeah. I had a Dr. Slaughter, so it works out well. Yeah. Anyway, what topic do you have?
Anyway, there were two of them. Well, so Upside, his new thing that is getting promoted like crazy on all sorts of. I'm seeing it on. I don't know. Maybe they're targeting my demographic, but it's Comedy Central.
Go for it, Go for it, Ed. Go for it.
So they're using carrier pigeons and smoke signals. Cave drawings.
Cave drawing, yeah.
That was just too
Back in my day.
Back in my day. No, but I don't know. I see it all. Are you guys seeing Upside
I just saw it
promoted?
this morning.
It's like saturation stuff for it's on podcasts and webcast, all sorts of stuff. But the basic premise is they're getting net rates from hotels, and they're basically selling them and doing a revenue share between the business and the traveler. So it's kind of going into the corporate space where you go, okay, book with Upside, and yeah, you're going to get, the company gets money back and the traveler gets money back. So I got to think that the hotels at some point are going, wait a second, we do not want to be discounting our corporate businesses. We do not want to be converting our corporate, corporate business over to some sort of wholesale.
What's the net rate they're getting? Do you know what the margins are?
I don't know. I'm not exactly sure, but they may be tying into some sort of, like net equivalent OTA types. Because again, when you
know who they're getting it from, they're getting it from the ones that always sell.
Right. Well, no.
to anyone,
and I mean,
they're well-known intermediaries that for some reason the hotels still continue to work with them, even though that they know that these companies will sell negotiated rates to other companies to put on the internet.
Yeah, but again, they could be accessing inventory from Get a Room, from Tarico, directly from the hotel company.
I wasn't going to name the companies by name.
Well, no. Those guys are big. It's not like secret what their business model. They're big B2B wholesale. Transaction, and
yep.
Those are huge and actually Tarico was just bought by Hotel Beds, right? So there's not a third one.
The other one.
Yeah, the other one. So again, that's kind of interesting on one, and then
I don't see it gaining past a certain point unless the hotels get duped by it. Like unless they somehow convince the hotels that it's good for them. There's no way the hotels can continue to allow, qualified rates to be sold.
But it's hard because it's hard though, because like with this thing like Tarico or they sell to Expedia and all the other guys too, right? They are just a platform to say who has inventory at what price, and they're basically arbitrage, right?
Model for selling discounted hotel rooms, like it's such a risky proposition because let's say you come up with a new model. The biggest problem you have is as soon as you prove that model, all Expedia has to do is copy it. It's the same problem Snapchat has with Facebook, and I don't think anyone thought Facebook could successfully take what's cool about Snapchat and apply it to Instagram. All those people have lost a lot of money on Snapchat, but I mean that's the problem. Is Priceline and Expedia have the inventory, they have the infrastructure, they have the audience. So let's say you finally prove that there's a niche that wants travel a different way. As soon as you prove it, your biggest problem is they're not going to buy you. They don't need to buy you unless you somehow get your brand up. All they have to do is add the functionality, and there you go. Like then you're screwed.
Yeah.
Well, is Jay out of Priceline altogether?
Jay Walker? He was out a long time. He was basically bounced in like about 2000, right when their stock price hit $1.50 a share, and Jeff Boyd, who was the CFO, wound up taking over. But I think he's still at equity. I think he's still.
Yeah, I mean, he came back then at one point. Yeah, and that's what I'm wondering if he's not somehow still.
But Walker Digital he was kind of a patent troll too. He had a whole ton of stuff and these inventions, and he was doing all these different things before he hit Priceline. And
we should have him on the show.
I don't know. I don't think he'd do it. but he's also But anyway, with his
we're a bit beneath him.
Yeah. But Walker's big thing that it blew up Priceline was he wasn't focused on travel. He was focused on this reverse auction model. And when he went into gasoline and groceries and mortgages, and nothing took. I mean, his pitch was, this is going to replace the way retail. This is going to replace retail.
Reverse auction is like the way of the future.
Yeah, and I know that the private equity guys who were behind Priceline when they skyrocketed day one. I mean, my best friend from college was with General Atlantic, who was their main partner. Said Priceline was designed to appeal to 3% of the traveling public. That was it for that reverse auction model. So,
Robert, do you know Ken Weil?
Ken Weil, no.
Oh, okay.
Was he not from Cornell?
So no, he's not. No, Ken Weil actually.
That's why Robert doesn't know him.
He was with Walker Digital.
Okay.
With Booking or Priceline, and he's the guy who told me who I used to say often wrong, never in doubt, which was just a little bit full circle.
Yep.
Oh, well, that's why Robert doesn't know him.
Well, this General Atlantic guy was a Baker Scholar at Harvard Business School as well, so maybe he knew that as well.
After Cornell.
Sure.
So, you spoke of Snapchat, and I grabbed this article for two reasons. One, it's not necessarily new, and it actually kind of lends to what you mentioned, Ed. This is something that Facebook just has to dial up what they're already doing in the sense of geolocation filters for their stuff, which they're already doing on the pay side, but they can do it on the organic side, and it kills this collaboration of Snapchat and Foursquare. Because, again, it goes back to Snapchat saying, hey, we're doing something different by allowing you to geofilter, your usage, and Facebook, who's only been monetizing, goes, yeah, no, we're just going to flip that switch on for organic, and we just killed your new idea.
Snapchat's going to need a pivot. Like, that's their problem at this point. They're going to need a pivot. They're public, so now they can't be nimble. Like, they're I wouldn't be surprised if they went private. Because they're not even
spectacles.
They don't even have what
wasn't a thing. Yeah.
They don't even have what Twitter has. Twitter's actually a safe buy right now because they're still priced in at a point where it's just not a bad buy, because eventually they'll get it right, and they're such a piece of the internet. Like, Twitter is like part of the fabric of the internet now. But Snapchat, on the other hand, like, what they had going was their UI. They had a lot of the other fundamentals wrong. Discovery was a complete disaster in Snapchat.
Discovery was terrible.
Yeah, a complete disaster. Even finding friends on Snapchat is like really weird. So I mean,
well, and part of the model
they got right were actually kind of easy to rip off, and the things that they ignored were the really hard fundamentals of doing a really good social network, which is, that balance of discovery and growth of network and sharing, and so they're gonna have to do something interesting in order to survive, or they're gonna have to go private so they don't have to answer to Wall Street. But the bottom line is the spectacles. Like, gosh, like, did they really think that just making a better looking Google Glass type failure was a good idea? Like, I believe I was on the show saying that the spectacles were going to be a complete failure.
You were.
Yeah.
but even I think what they wound up doing was, all this stuff was instantly disposable and things like that, right? It went away. But you would think they would have brought in some sort of switch where you go, hey, people can save this one. This one has some life. Because again, one of the frustrations now, you go, oh, that was great. They wanted to share it. And it was kind of, they made their stuff kind of non-shareable. It didn't have any shelf life. But I don't think they could do that from a server perspective, right? They'd have to expand their server space.
No, you're talking like big pivots here. Like they have
big issues.
They have 99 problems.
Yeah. It's a tough situation to be in. So I don't know.
Yeah. And this beckons back to shiny object syndrome. I was in a meeting yesterday,
Meerkat,
where the owner was saying, "Hey, what's your strategy? What's Flips 2's strategy on getting Snapchat exposure?" And I was like, "Well, right now there isn't one, because it's not your audience. Like, those people aren't buying hotel rooms from you right now."
Yeah. Hey, I saw it. Oh, it disappeared. Damn it. I didn't buy fast enough.
Right. We keep a very close eye on it. We keep an eye on how people use it. And then this is true for a lot of networks. Like, we experiment the crap out of it, but your audience isn't there. The people who are going to give you money aren't there. From a social sharing perspective, there's not much there. From an ad perspective, sure. That age of kids do help drive parental decisions. But
and my wife goofs around on Snapchat. I mean, she's on a lot more than me.
Listen,
with goofing around with our kids on.
They shouldn't have gone IPO. Like, that's my big thing. They shouldn't have gone IPO. They were not.
But their investors wanted to cash. They
and their
CEO wanted to cash in before
their CEO truly believed he was a Mark Zuckerberg, and he's not a Mark Zuckerberg.
No. And actually, that's an interesting thing with Zuckerberg, where I think a lot of people looked at him as just being kind of this cocky kid and that sort of thing, and they're going to go repeat. He's turned into one of the probably best, tech CEOs around. And I don't know, bringing in Sheryl Sandberg and the culture that they've done. I mean, they're doing some.
Yeah, he's going to go down as the best founding CEO.
Yeah.
Of like this generation. Like,
yeah. He's going to be your future president too.
I hope so. Gosh, I don't even care. I don't even care if I don't believe in his political views, just because. Whatever. Better. It's better than what we've been getting.
When he flips all that social data over to Putin, really? Because he's been
Did you read
because he's been cultivated and nurtured since birth. That's why he quit school and did the jeez.
What you say, Holly? I'm sorry.
Did anybody read The Circle?
No, I didn't. I wanted to see the movie. I thought the movie was going to be great, and it got horrible reviews. I didn't even see it. Yeah.
The movie wasn't any good, but the book was fantastic.
What's it about?
Really?
The Circle, social sharing. Dave Eggers taking when we were talking about blockchain last week, I was really reminded of The Circle. It's worth a read. It's a 2-hour read.
I haven't got out of my tech.
And we're all obviously in book clubs, as you can see, all of us. Yeah, we're going to do that.
I have so many.
It's on audiobook.
If you look at my
one of us spoke up like, we're going to do that. Oh,
I know.
Yeah,
really
I want you to, it is on audio. That's how I listen to books as I walk my dogs.
Yeah, I do the same. I listen while I run.
I listen to it occasionally, but no, I try to read. And I have so many tech books I'm so far behind on wanting to read. I'm like, this is a great book, and I get out of it what I first bought it for, and then I want to read the rest of it, and I never do. And it's like they're stacked up on my Kindle.
Podcasts have replaced my books as well, because I always listen to books, and I listen to so many podcasts now. That's replaced it.
Yep,
I do the same for it. I do the same. Hey,
I have a call in about 10 minutes. I'm facilitating between a startup and a hotel. The startup is they've partnered with a bunch of publishing houses, and they've put a bunch of nonfiction books in a subscription service, and they want to sell it to hotels. So they're offering a free trial for this hotel's guests, and then the hotels would sign up. It's a subscription.
Are these digital books? Are they digital books?
Well, there's digital books, video, podcasts. There's, it's a whole bunch of different things. $10 a month it's a lot of access. I mean, it's 40,000 titles. And then the hotel gets a percent. I think it's a little bit smart if the hotel can promote it through something like Keeper or Alice.
I see Amazon being able to do that very, very easily.
Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Some of these things, like, I don't know. Hotels don't sell their stuff well. I mean,
right.
Adding other things that have nothing to do with the guest experience and the guest stay, I get concerned when I see distraction coming in to an industry that isn't delivering what it should be delivering in a lot of ways. Because here's what's going to happen. That's going to end up in the post-stay email. It's going to end up in the pre-arrival email. That's going to end up in the confirmation email. And then all of a sudden, other things are going to squeeze in. And so I don't think the problem is the idea from the startup side. I think the problem is the question of, should hotels be doing this?
So I agree. That's not the route to go. It only works if it's via Keeper. So Keeper is like what Alice. Do you know what Keeper is? Have you seen Keeper in hotels? It's a mini iPad in the guest room, and you walk in, it says, "Welcome, Holly," and then you order room service, you order whatever you want from the front desk.
As content to a device, absolutely.
That's the way that I think. But
here's the other thing. I hate to break startups' feelings, but someone who goes to a hotel and touches one of those devices, I doubt they're going to sign up for a service that's on that device.
Right. They might use it on that device if it was free, but then sign up for the service and take it home. I don't know. That's a lot. I doubt
it.
The other thing is, I'm not
at a scale that's sustainable.
I'm not a fan of those in-room devices period. I just think that's a temporary gap.
Somebody is.
I hate touching the remote control in a hotel room, let alone a glass screen. That is they
have a really high user rate on these on this Keeper for this group of hotels that I'm talking with.
Probably.
What is it used for?
They use it to order room service. They use it for guest requests. They use it for check-in or check-out.
So they use it for communication.
Right. It's an Alice concept.
No, right. So I
everybody
see
has one of those.
What I don't see is them using it for entertainment.
Right. You know, I don't know.
Like, if I'm
I look at
it. I have all the same devices. Like, so if I'm going to read, I'm going to read something that I brought with me. Like, again, maybe I'm the wrong audience for this, but like my wife travels with her e-reader.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Most people I know that are big into reading travel with their reading device.
Yeah.
Holly, I'll give one positive thing about this, and that is international travelers right now are faced with more restrictions into their technology transfers than ever before. And a lot of people, I mean, we're dealing with international travelers to the New York market. They're purposely leaving their laptops behind. They're zeroing out their phones and iClouding them so they can download them again when they get to the other side of the security system. So if they have to show it to immigration, then there's no data for them to be held culpable for, whatever.
Right, so for the next couple of years until those laws get fixed, it's a model. I mean, it's kind of like, it reminds me of who was it, BMC? You know, like
the music,
8 CDs for
a penny.
For a penny.
Columbia House Record Club. Yep. You really want to do it out there.
But I don't know. I don't.
So, Holly, is there a cost to the hotel for using this,
Zero.
or it's just a
revenue share?
Zero cost. So, I mean,
Zero?
What's the risk?
It's a free perk for the guests.
Yeah.
Then I think it's
great. They get access, and then if they sign up, they make money.
Maybe.
Yeah. There's a why not?
I mean, if I'm the hotel, I test it with a few rooms, see like that, see what the utilization is, if it makes sense, and then if not, But again, the hotel already has these readers in. They already have these Keeper
in the room.
Yeah.
I thought it would be a good loyalty perk.
Does it do news readers? Like, you know, there's certain apps that have the ability to pick news feeds from different newspapers and stuff in different countries.
Yeah. We should have them on at some point. If this goes well, we'll have them on the show because it's a pretty cool service. It's more than what I'm describing it as. You actually can interact with authors, and it's pretty cool. So I'll let you know as things progress. But speaking of which, I'm going to have to go because I have the call in 2 minutes.
Cool.
4 minutes.
See ya.
Lovely seeing you all. Thanks for your advice on my boot camp.
Yeah. Learn to do apps. Take over the world.
I look forward to take over there when you conquer the world.
I'll let you know. I'll let you know when you're free. Goodbye.
Have a great week.
Well, Jim, we are actually coming up on the 2-hour mark.
Yeah, and I got to run too.
Me too.
Well, you can't waste that kind of good-looking outfit you got going on just on one client, right? I mean, you got to start hitting up the whole client roster.
Go ask for more money from more people.
Man. Flip2's blowing up right now.
Yeah. Next thing you know what we're going to see, gentlemen? We're going to see a computer picture come up, and it's going to have a picture of Edward on the side, but his assistant's going to be. It's like Mr. St. Ange asked me to join your show since he's unable to.
I'll just use my Muppet.
No.
I have a Muppet that looks like
it's
me.
going to. It's
Muppet.
It's not going to be Mr. St. Ange. By that point, it will be His Eminence.
His Royal Eminence.
See, this is what you guys have gotten wrong. It's always been that. How successful I've been has never changed the fact that
exactly.
In my head, it's always been that.
It's always been there. All right. Well,
why don't they all get it?
Why doesn't everybody understand? Yes. All right. Hey, listen, first off, a couple of things. One is people remember that Field Travel has an absolutely outstanding podcast. That is it down to it's still bi-weekly or weekly now, Stuart?
Right now it's bi-weekly. We're getting ready to go back to weekly. We just did last week's episode we did on how to market your hotel on a shoestring budget. So a bunch of just thrown out ideas of if you don't have money to spend, these are things you can do to put more heads in bed. So it's great for any hotel.
Nice.
I like the sandwich board. The sandwich board guy with the check it out, handing out the things.
No. The sandwich, the sign spinner. The sign spinner.
The sign spinner. That's another good one.
I might have to redo the podcast.
Didn't have either of those. Oh, damn.
And so, Mr. Stewart, where if people want to find the podcast or more about Fuel Travel or yourself?
So the podcast is available anywhere you get podcasts. If you just search for Fuel Hotel Marketing Podcast, or you can go to fueltravel.com/podcast and get them on the web if you don't listen to podcasts on your mobile device. And then you can get us on Twitter at Fuel Travel as well. And you can hit me up at Stuart Butler on Twitter. So.
Very nice. Mr. Robert Cole, if people want to know about your fantastic wealth of knowledge and information.
Well, you won't find it. No, I don't know where you'd find that. At Robert K. Cole or rockcheetah.com.
And don't go to, what is that Twitter handle that you have that it goes to 1,000?
Rock Cheetah.
Do not go to.
Do not follow Rock Cheetah.
Do not follow at Rock Cheetah. Although, again, now average 4 clicks per posting, and those aren't just views; those are clicks. It's unbelievable. I don't know. It is just very bizarre.
You say this, but that's just scary numbers. Anyway, yes. So, Mr. Edward St. Onge from Flip2, where if people want to know all that is Flip2, do they need to go to?
Flip.to.
And for you,
find me on social media at Edward St. Onge and all forms.
At God.
He's changing his Twitter handle.
It's GAWD.
Oh, there's a good one.
God.
For this episode and all previous 101 other episodes of this show.
You had to subtract there really quickly.
Math was not working for me on this one.
That's why it's this week in hospitality digital marketing and not this week in revenue management.
That's right. Don't take my numbers. Don't take my numbers. You can go to hospitalitydigitalmarketing.com/live, and there's all the links for the archives and the current shows and future shows to register. So until next Friday, show number 103, which is just shy of our exact 2-year mark. We look forward to talking to everybody again next week. So thank you, gentlemen, very much for making the time and taking the time. And we will talk to everyone later.